Hey, we're back with Professor Avram Ehrlich on the subject of philosophy of language.
There's a lot to say about language. Everything is. I suppose the philosophy of language, which I'm presenting, is the use of language as an instrument to handle ourselves, even our consciousness, and our relationship with each other and our hyperstructures, our governments. We have done so from the inside out, almost using language, a remarkable structure which even exists in the cell. We've structured language, we've used our instrument of lips and tongue and vocals and voice, and there's also a lot to say about body language and other forms of language, but at least verbal language we've developed. There are many different styles that developed over many hundreds of thousands of years, but the predominant one which has lasted and survived has been the one that we speak today in English and with alphabet, although the pictogrammic system is popular in China and other systems are popular elsewhere, but the alphabetical system is, and names and therefore verbs and descriptions and a structure to the logic of imagining an entity. So the ability to name something and is a form of, I call it word piety, because it is an honest, gives something a name, and therefore you have a relationship, a genuine relationship with it if you are able to call it. So it may be a set of coordinates far away and undistinguishable at one time, but if you can give it a name, therefore you can recognize it, so you have access to these coordinates. So another idea, and these are almost psychological references towards words and towards concepts and towards series of coordinates in extended space. So really we're creating a structure, almost a scaffolding of meaning using words, and I call it vowel mysticism, that words can be conjugated by using vowels. So the actual use of language, we can exercise a completely different psychological position or structure or behavior just by changing our vowels. So it's a form of exercise by changing what one says with one's voice, one create a different psychological effect, neural effect, mystical effect, just with voice, the power of voice, like input and output. So another idea, grammar spirituality, that one conducts one's entire worldview and discipline in one's behavior through one's speech. And however much there may be stimuli on one part to behave in or to speak in one way, there's a methodology and a manner and a code and a structure in every way to speech. So it's a culture, it's a civilization, it's a spirituality. So to sentences can then guide human behavior. Law is structured sentences of to-dos and not to-dos, and if you do and how you shouldn't, and the structure and the logic of sentences are the on which entire civilizations are contingent, and the legal structures are made, and the many different types of sentences and jurisprudence, and the long story of Chronicle of history and how history tells itself out in a story. And this develops the plateaus of Theo-Linguistics, the great Platoic ideas which have been described in mythical forms, in the stories of the gods and the stories of the heroes and the stories of the lawgivers and the visionaries. So, and then we have a Neuro theology, which is an entirely different subject, and also with language comes all sorts of other different dimensions, even physical and quantum dimensions to language, but that is for another session.